just a little bit then from chapter 13, The Noble Path. Uh, we, it's again very good stuff. Well, I still don't get why he's just employing the term rebirth without wrestling with what that means in a understanding of the world that is anatta. But 124, a little over halfway down, simply stated, nibbana, the Pali version of nirvana, the term you're more familiar with. Nibbana is the end of dukkha. Dukkha, that's suffering, out of jointedness, frustration. It is the point at which one stops craving for reality to be other than what it is. It is the radical acceptance of the way things are, which is impermanent, right? Anicca. So we're gonna, let's see. You'll see on page 125, he talks about the arahant. I've also seen it spelled A-R-A-H-A-T, arahat. But anyway, a person who, this first full paragraph, completely sees nibbana in this life is known as an arahant. This person is free from craving, aversion, and misknowing, and will, in fact, is released from rebirth. Dang, there it is again, halfway down on page 125. So the arhat is released from rebirth. That is nibbana or nirvana without remainder. It's with remainder as long as the person's still living, but they've reached moksha and will not be reborn. But again, we would have to ask, what is it that is imagined that would be reborn? About halfway down 125, similarly, without karma to perpetuate rebirth of what? The arhat, quote, goes out. Interestingly enough, if the rebirth thing, look at the next paragraph, this is 125. Quite naturally, the Buddha's disciples were interested in what happens at Parinabha, which would be like death, and the final nibbana for those who are have realized this truth about reality and have become liberated. Well, if they were listening to the Buddha, they wouldn't ask questions like, what happens to us when we die? You should just be asking, what's happening to me while I live? Because there's no me. But it is interesting. One of the central issues of the axial age, as we have noted, was the individual's destiny after death. The Buddha's response to this concern was deliberately elusive. Bottom sentence of that paragraph, last full paragraph 125, the Buddha was reticent about issues, no matter how interesting or important to the questioner, that were not essential to the termination of suffering. Again, this would seem like this would be a question that's basically removed from the table if you're denying any enduring soul, because without that, the notion of rebirth can really only be what I ended the previous video with, as far as I'm concerned. We have some nice gee whiz. So I wrote "come on!" three exclamation points. Come on oh, that scared my doggy. Capital letters. Go to 126 under the Noble Eightfold Path. Coco, no. Coco, no. That first paragraph, each element of the path is intended to contribute to the end of suffering, and short of the realization of nibbana, so if I don't realize it, if I do not become an arhat in this life, it would be contribute to a favorable rebirth. Of what? That's just really interesting. I think it's always been a challenge for the Buddhist tradition. The the rest of the chapter, really some nice stuff. Coco, would you stop it? Get out of that garbage. Stop it. I mean it. No. Come over here and lie down. Get over here. Sorry. Wow. I like on page 130, bottom paragraph, the mind spends a great deal of time pondering things over which we have no control. When the undisciplined mind does pay attention to the present moment, it is constantly passing judgments and generating opinions so that it is really more absorbed with itself than with the present situation. It is as if the mind produces a constant commentary as we experience life. Well, we do that to a great extent, but let's see here. I thought I had another thing I wanted to say here. I know I do. Maybe I've already passed it up. No. So I'll end this video with page 131. Middle of the page, talking about Buddhist meditation. The Buddhist practice of meditation is not intended to create extraordinary or mystical experiences, though that may happen. Rather, the Buddha meant meditation to be used to sharpen awareness of the world and ourselves by attending to the features of ordinary life in the present moment. And this is what is often called mindfulness. And remember, again, it's not the process of blocking anything out. It's the process, literally, of letting everything in, or better yet, letting everything go through. Because memories, anticipations, feelings, perceptions, those things arise. They are part of the conjunction at every moment of what is me. If I do not grasp after those, if I am mindful of them, I don't try to block them out, but I don't also try to cling to anything, trying not to incorporate everything or anything into my understanding of the way things should be, but simply allowing these moments, these events to flow through me. Okay, so same paragraph. It involves simply attending to the breath, and observing without judgment the rise and fall of thoughts, sensations, feelings, and perceptions. Really nice right here. As these phenomena give rise to awareness, the meditator notes them and allows them, we could say in their time, to fall away without grasping or dwelling on them. The Buddha thought that by merely observing the mind, the body, and the world around, it is possible to gain insight into the true nature of the world and self and learn how to think, act, and think accordingly. I was looking for something a little bit more. I'm not seeing it right now, but no, here we go. Very end of the chapter, top of 132. It means directly seeing reality the way it is. Seeing directly, and again, this is not simple seeing, it's a meditative seeing. So the first thing I have to say is I've never gotten on this path and truly tried it, but I have my doubts about this, as I'll say. It means directly seeing reality the way it is, unencumbered by expectations, beliefs, or defilements of any kind. This actually does raise an interesting issue still in contemporary philosophy and theology, and that is this possible? That is, can the human being even expect to be able to we'll say, observe or see or experience these passing events apart from any interpretation. And if there's interpretation, there's also certain expectation. There's certain teachings or ideas one carries into the moment that directs me to that directs my knowing. Can I leave that out of the picture? Can there be a kind of non-interpretive experience where language is entirely out of the picture? The language that shapes my world and my perception of the world and my perception of the events around me. Can there be a languageless experience of anything, which would be, we could say, on the road to a non-interpreted experience? And I'm certainly, my prejudgment on this is it's not possible. But I've already said, on the other hand, I've never been a Buddhist, and I've never taken up this path, the Eightfold Path, based on the Four Noble Truths, that really sort of is to eventuate in this meditative state of knowing or of experience that is, like we'll say, pure knowing of reality. Can there be a pure knowing of reality, of the world as it is, that does not at all depend on or find itself rooted in my expectations about the world, my beliefs about the world, my desires about the world and my place in it? Well, apparently the Buddha said it is possible. All I can say is, man, it doesn't seem likely to me. But I'll say, to end this here, this is as remarkable a claim, the claim that it might be possible for the human mind, such as it is in this Buddhist portrait of things, for the human mind to experience reality as it is, which is this interdependent dynamic flux, and to experience it without any interpretive layer on my part, is about as revolutionary as saying, in his own place and culture and time, Anatman. I mean, it still blows me away. Obviously, these in Buddhism are related. Supposedly, the way that the Buddha discovered Anatman was precisely by going down the path that he later then prescribes for his followers, called the Eightfold Path. Wild stuff. Well, I want you to submit notes, raise at least one question, either from the book itself, anything that I may not have covered, or something that I covered and talked about, but you'd like to raise a question about it, and we'll take a look at those things. Thanks, everybody.